congratulations for your new album, and you released the first two singles, Rise and Banshee. Did you guys expect that such a huge and great reception by the public?
Of course we did. Listen, no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you never do. You know, the success of any album for me is when it's finished. I don't look at the success of an album where people love it, hate it, sells or doesn't sell. I have to be completely very proud of it and very excited about it first and foremost. The rest is just a bonus. You know, the rest is, it's amazing, obviously, when fans respond the way they've been, guitar players have been responding the way they've been. It's kind of overwhelming and shocking, to be honest with you. I'm very humbled that, I mean, look, we don't make albums to not do that. You know, you go to make an album the best that you can, to make it, you know, you go aggressive and you make sure the songs are great and the playing is great, but you never know what people are going to respond. So it's been pretty exciting, you know.
Oh, yeah, and I love the production. The sound is like so powerful, and I think that you just produced it yourself. So can you tell me a little bit of the production? And
I mean, what do you want to know? I did it myself. I mean,
but did you guys record it in your studio or?
It's a studio up in my house. It's up there, up by the pool area, way up there by the Hollywood sign. Yeah, it's just me, man. I you know, little small studio, set up some drums, set up some amps, and the guys live on the opposite side of the country. So they came and went, and they leave me with the mess. And then I make sense of it all. And I engineer by myself. I don't have an assistant. I engineer and produce it and mix it. And I like working by myself. I have nobody in the room when I work. I don't even have an assistant. I don't want anybody bothering me to get coffee or whatever.
Well, that's cool. I have the feeling that like many fans around the world were expecting this album for many years. And I was gonna ask you if you guys have plans to record more albums more frequently, because it's been a long time since you recorded.
Man, the reaction's too good. I say we just finish this fucking thing. I think why would we want to jeopardize? It's been so good. Let's not mess it up. No, look, I think we would definitely, you know, try to, sorry, there's a lot of light back here. God is back there. But no, of course, listen, you got to understand, like, when people are like 15 years, you know, taking out, this album didn't took as long as it took to record 12 songs. You know, we didn't release anything in 12, 13 years. Well, 3 years is because of the pandemic, but let's call it 10 years was because of, you know, we had an album in 2012. We had an album in 2014. We had an album in 2016. We have enough songs, but I don't like to release things that I'm not super, super excited about, and something that I'm really passionate about, or something that's really, you know, soulful to me, you know? So that's the reason why we waited. And I don't think we'll wait that long again, because I think this excitement and everything really got us, you know, back on track. And I mean, we already have a title for the next album, so that's good news.
And about for yourself as a guitarist, well, you had a great impact on guitar when you came with Extreme first albums in late 80s and beginning of the 90s. But right now, with especially with the Rise, with the guitar solo, it's like all the guitarists in the world are talking about that solo. Rick Beato did a video that was like more than 1.5 million views. How do you feel about that, you know, in that point of your career?
Trust me, it's at 2.5 million views now. It's crazy, and it keeps going. So, I mean, it was shocking because, I mean, is it a good solo? Yeah, it's a good solo. It's a decent solo. But I feel like I've been playing solos like that for 35 years, you know, 35, 40 years. I don't think it's anything super, you know, groundbreaking. But I do think that what's kind of maybe got the attention is that it's been a while. It's been a while. I think, you know, I was getting texts and responses from, you know, peers and heroes of mine and saying, you know, we haven't heard a solo like this in like 20 years, you know, like 15, 20 years. And I was like, really? And I was trying to think about it. Like, they were like, well, when's the last time you heard a guitar solo? There's great guitar players out there. Obviously, a lot of great ones right now. But, you know, it's been a while in a band, in a song, inside a song with harmonies and arrangements and things like that, where this is definitely an old school approach and more from my generation of rock and roll. And it's probably hasn't been many albums like that or many songs like that with a guitar player that's in a, because look, how do we discover guitars right now? Really, how do we discover the new guitar players, new generation? It's always online. And when it's online or in our socials, where are they? They're in a chair like I am right now, or in a chair that you are right now. And they're blowing our minds with great guitar playing, all of them. I mean, jaw dropping, like some of the shit they're doing. I mean, technically better or different than what I could ever imagine playing, right? But what's missing? What do we have there? We're looking at, you know, a technical version of guitar playing. We're watching somebody do something. We're like, oh my God, we like it. We do a comment, we share it, we move on. It's for guitar players. Then all of a sudden, I'm glad it was extreme, but imagine if it wasn't extreme. Or if I saw that video for Rise, if it was me and I saw that and I take me out of it, I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be like, what the fuck? Because there it is. The emotion that we've been missing, the physicality of it. When you play, the performance, the body, you know, when you used to watch TV, Ray Vaughn hit a fucking note, your whole body moved, his whole body moved. It wasn't him sitting in a chair and just playing you the solo. It was physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I think when people saw the video, it kind of shocked them because if I played that same solo and I did what everybody else did, and I'm like, hey guys, this is NUNO, and I'm in the studio before the album came out, and I played that same solo, and it was just, and I'm just sitting here playing it, doing some tremolo picking, and then I bend a few notes, and then I do a few notes with the bar, you know that? I think, and then I play something percussive and great at the end, they'd be like, okay, it's NUNO. That's pretty cool. They might share it, they might not share it. The difference is when you hear it, the power of that solo, people don't realize, guitar players need to know this right now if they don't fucking figured it out yet. Eddie Van Halen's solos, Jimmy Page's solos, Brian May's solos, the greatest in the world. You pull away that rhythm section, you pull away that feel and that melody and that, the song is a gift to the solo. The song guides you for the solo. It tells you that you're either going to just show off to everybody, or you're going to close your eyes and you're going to let the rhythm section and the pocket and the feel and the lyrics and the tone take you and make the solo from here to here. The technical part of it is already inside you. It's like a toolbox we have, right? We know when to do muting. We know when to do bends. We know it's instinct at this point. But if you calculate it, it's going to just be technical. You're not going to have that emotion. So it's all of a sudden people are watching a band play a fucking song with a verse and a chorus and lyrics and harmonies, and there's anticipation, there's a bridge. It's coming, the solo's coming, and then boom. That's why the solo's exciting, because you know it's coming. I don't give a shit if it's a Zeppelin song or a Queen song or a fucking Extreme song, or there is anticipation, there is excitement, and there is other guitar playing that excites you little by little in the verses, transitions, letting you know something is coming. And I think that's been a little bit lost art a little bit, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm the only one do it. There's amazing guitar players and that are in these bands, that are still in bands, but they're a different genre than us, right? So when I step back, why is everybody excited about this guitar solo? Okay, it's good guitar solo. I don't think I play shitty guitar solos. I don't think anybody expects a shitty guitar solo. But at the same time, I think the mythology of rock and roll, of me playing that solo in the mythology of rock and roll, is what makes it way more special than just another guitar solo. It's the song, it's the harmony, it's the excitement. And for me, powerful guitar solos, when you know they're good guitar solos in a song, whether it's me or anybody else, it means that they almost put their ego aside and they just service the song. Because now, instead of it just being a little element of it, it's a big element of it. And even when Banshee or hashtag Rebel, the other two songs came out, which by the way, Banshee surpassed the views of Rise. But yet when the guitar players, after they saw Rise, when I saw the reaction, they were like, it's good solo, but it's not as jaw-dropping as Rise. When I hear them say that about another song, it's the biggest compliment they can give me. Because what they're saying is, Rise was a lot more energy, the song and the solo. But Banshee is perfect for Banshee. It's bluesier, it's more playful, it's calmer, it's got a groove to it. It's more rhythmic. Why? Because the fucking song is doing the same thing. And to me, that's why some people I like the Banshee solo better than that one. Well, maybe because you like the Banshee song better than Rise, and you like that type of soloing better. So my hope is when you go through an album, any album, is that every solo emotionally fits with the song. That is the success to me of a guitarist, period.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. And actually, for me, I love all the solos of the album. But for me, the song, there's this song "Here's to the Losers." I was going to ask you later if the losers are the forgotten ones, and people should write more about them. But actually, the solo you play there, you start with some blues lines that I love. For me, it's like one of the best moments in the album. So I guess it's a matter of taste. No, everyone likes.
It's a matter of taste, but it's a matter of taste. But think about it. It's as long as the taste. Like I would hate to hear the Rise solo in "Here's to the Losers." Do you know what I mean? It'd be like, okay, here's to the Losers. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, something's not right here. So yeah, it's a tasty song with acoustic in "Here's to the Losers," and I'm playing back and forth. The part that you're talking about, the bluesy part, I'm playing back and forth with the vocal. So like. I'm just feeling what's going on. So you're right. It's what you want to do as a guitar player in a band. I'm a guitar player in a band. I'm not Joe Satriani. I'm not Steve Vai. I don't do instrumental albums. So to play within a song, all I want is people to take that journey, and I want them to get lost in the song emotionally. How are they going to get lost in the song if I wake them up with an idiotic, over-the-top solo that doesn't make sense in that song? That's my fear. That's my nightmare. Is like, yeah, did I do the right thing? Like there's a song, you heard the album, there's a song Hurricane. It's an acoustic song. Not much going on. But I wrote that for a best friend of mine who died in a motorcycle accident. It's an emotional song for me.
It reminded me of the Beatles, that song, a little bit.
Very, very Beatlesque. Of course, it's got the guitar strumming and the very Blackbird kind of stuff. But my point being is that when I play I got a solo in it, acoustic solo. So all of a sudden, I thought I knew what I was going to do in the solo. But then when the solo started, if you go back and listen to it now, I literally come in and I think I played a note and then I stopped. Because I was actually in tears when I started playing that solo. Now, and then I played a little bit more, and then I went back and I was like, okay, now I'm going to play it because I was kind of emotional. But then when I went back and heard it, those spaces were the most important part of the solo for me. Because they just, and it just stopped. And that, I felt something there. And maybe a younger version of myself would have just recut the whole solo. But I think it was really important to let the song dictate what I could and could not do emotionally, you know.
Mm. I think that for all we are talking about, I think there's also a problem now with all the Instagram and TikTok and all the social networks that people is getting used, like you said, just to show off, how fast they play, how they think, and young generations don't are not connecting with music like songs, albums, and they just too obsessed with like, hey, here's how I play. I do like a 30-minute songs. And even Mateo Asato, the guitarist Instagrammer, got tired of himself doing that. No? So it's probably the social network like the problem.
Yeah, look, I think whatever a guitarist wants to do is okay, right? I think everybody plays for different reasons. Sometimes we start when we're younger to be able to do something, just be able to do it. When you're young and you listen to a Van Halen solo, you go, "Oh my God, like how amazing would it be able to play Eruption," right? And then there's your technical bar of like, this is where I want to go. I want to be able to do that technically. I'm just thinking about where my fingers go, how I do it, how can I do the exercise? And then that's one element. And that's okay. If you're a guitarist that just wants to be a technical guitarist and wants to be able to do things kind of as a hobby almost, or that's fine, whatever makes you happy. But then there's another version of a guitarist that while they're listening to Van Halen and they're going, I want to be able to do Eruption, which is at the time, one of the most difficult things to play. But then they keep listening to the album and they go, well, wait a second. All of a sudden on the same album, Ain't Talking About Love comes on. I just heard him do Eruption, which I don't even understand what just fucking happened because we've never heard anything like that. But then on Ain't Talking About Love, he's on and it's over. And you're like, that's it? That's the great Edward Van Halen, who just 2 songs ago or 1 song ago did fucking Eruption? Are you fucking kidding me? Then you have an awakening and you go, okay, what's happening here? Oh, he's not just a guitar player. He's a guitar player in a rock and roll fucking band. So then you go, oh, is that who I am? Is that why I love those melodies and those lyrics and those songs? Is that why I still loved playing Ain't Talking About Love solo? And I enjoyed it because it wasn't just about being able to do it. It was about feeling like I was part of the band, part of the song. I was in it. And then something else happens to you. You're like, well, wait a second. Fuck. I want to put a band together. I don't want to just sit here and just play solos. Or I just want to just sit here and just play solos, and that's okay too. So my point being, what you said is correct, but it's not a sad thing or a happy thing. It's really just, maybe because there isn't as many bands with guitar players in them, that's maybe the sad part. So the younger generation isn't going to be inspired like I was. That, yes, I love Brian May, but what the fuck is going on over here with Queen? Like, the fuck is going on with these harmonies? What is going on with these productions? What is going on? Yes, of course, I love Jimmy Page, the solo at the end of Stairway to Heaven, but Stairway to Heaven was a beautiful song I could play as well. So I'm hoping that, it isn't a lost art and people will still, and a part of me, somebody said to me when Extreme 6, when these songs came out, and I'm not going to say their names, but there were some big heroes of mine that said to me, your album is really important. I'm like, what am I, fucking Neo from the Matrix? What do you talking about? He said, no, it's not like you have the responsibility, but you're keeping that rock and roll, that creativity within a song alive from that generation today. in a more modern, setting. And I was just like, wow, I didn't even think of that. Like, wow, you're right. Like, not that like it makes the album any more special or me any more special, but it kind of felt good to go like, fuck yeah. Like, I'll fucking take that all day. Like, yeah, why not? Why not give a younger generation an album to make them go like, hey, you can follow guys on Instagram like I do as well and learn things. But how about this as well? How about like fucking put a band together, keep rock and roll itself fucking going,
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you that when you play like with Rihanna, which is completely different, uh, how is playing with her? Because all her songs in studio have no guitars, and the audience is probably not used to listen to rock and roll and guitar players. So how do you feel when you play with her? How different is it than playing with the band?
It's funny, it was exactly the same for me. It's like I told you, think about this. Pop music, rock and roll, R&B, hip hop, reggae. I played all those elements with Rihanna. Even rock. She has some like rocking tracks. What the fuck was the difference? Nothing. It was the same arrangement. It was still a verse and a chorus, another verse and a chorus with a bridge. And it's, it's what I call, it's nursery rhymes for adults. That's what we do. The feels were different. I would play some R&B and play some things, but then again, were they really different than some of the funkier stuff that I did, with Extreme? Was it really different? I got to be me. I got to like, put guitar all over these amazing songs and hit songs. And also live turn a generation that isn't used to hearing guitar, listening to some guitar. She gave me like 3 or 4 features live where I got to really do some ripping solos. It was a great experience. And by the way, play with some of the most amazing musicians in the world ever. They're like, oh, it's a cute little pop gig. This is like Stevie Wonder's drummer. These are like bass players. They're like, these guys, the sound checks, the jams, the fucking, oh my God, the shit that we played, the fusion, the jazz, the fucking craziness. Some of the best musicians I've ever played in my entire life was in the Rihanna band. Think about that.
We only have just a few minutes, so I would like to finish like a double question. You have the songs on Thicker Than Blood and X Out that you have some cool, interesting like synth and like kind of electronic grooves going on. And I wanted to know if you have plans to go on tour with Extreme and come to Spain and Europe. And how do you manage these songs are going to manage if live? If you will bring some sequences and stuff, or you will, no?
Yeah, look, I think whenever we try to play live, it's like the dilemma we had when we did horns on Porn Graffiti, right? You ask yourself, what do? It's got horns on 3 or 4 songs. And then we did 3 sides. We brought horns with us on tour. But even now we're playing some of those songs and you make a choice. You're like, of course the songs rock without the horns. Matters as matter. But lately we've been like, fuck it. Play with a click. Let's get the horns exciting there. I have no problem with any band. I don't give a shit if it's acoustic, rock, punk, fucking whatever. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. You want to pump in horns, you pump in horns. You want to pump in synthesizer, pump in synthesizer. People have been criticizing bands for doing that stuff. I tell them to go fuck themselves because it's not your fucking choice. You don't like it, don't go see the fucking band. But it's not wrong and it's not right. An artist can do whatever the fuck he wants, whenever the fuck he wants to do it. Who the fuck are you to tell him he can or can't do it? Now, having said that, you have a choice to buy a ticket, go see him or not, or don't listen to the album. Or I do draw the line when somebody is doing something and they're pretending to do it. That's a whole different thing. If we're sitting there, like I use Bumblebee, I've always had a thing that goes, it's a click track. You can tell me that's bullshit, but I'm not sitting there with somebody, Kevin's not going, pretending to do it, right? Same thing with Midnight Express. I don't like when people pretend to do something or they're faking like they're singing or they're faking like they're playing horns. It's not happening. That's not cool with me because then you're lying to the audience. You're not performing anymore. So I'm of the mind that I don't give a fuck if a band 90% of the sound is electronics and it's all being sequenced and it's 90% of the sound, but they don't have a guitar player and they have guitar going through. But if there is guys on stage faking it, I think that's a little bit unfair, and that's not cool. Do it if you want, but it's up to the audience if they want to stay or not stay. I don't think the good thing about rock and roll to me in music is there are no fucking rules. There just are no rules, and people can criticize, and that's their job, is to have opinions, and journalists to do reviews of shows. No problem. Everybody's got their opinion, and I respect that. But as an artist, somebody says to me that what I should and shouldn't do, and that I shouldn't do this, and I shouldn't have horns, I'm like, I got one word for you. Go fuck yourself. Oh, go fuck yourself. 3 words, sorry. I quit high school. Go fuck yourself. You don't like what I do? Don't buy the fucking album. You don't like what I do? Don't buy a ticket. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I don't.
I think we're gonna get shut down by the Zoom application. So it was great. Thank you so much to have this time for the interview.
No, thank you, man. And I would love it. Yeah, I would love it if you. What I'm trying to do when we do good interviews, I try to ask